Multiple cause diagrams are used to explore interconnected webs of causes and effects. Let's start by looking at how a single cause and effect is shown on a multiple cause diagram. I've taken the technological optimist's view of the relationship between the level of technology used and the food supply that results from farming. Thus, the level of technology affects the supply of food. This sounds plausible, but it doesn't take into account the fact that improvements in many technologies often require more inputs, such as fertilizer, irrigation works, knowledge, and so on. These inputs, in turn, need to be purchased, which usually requires credit. However, the supply of credit is limited. Differences in access to credit between individuals could well affect the supply of credit to them, and hence their ability to adopt and use the new technology. So already a chain of causes and effects is building up. But equally, other factors can affect some of these states. These might include research and development investment impacting on the level of technology, or the state of the economy impacting on the amount of credit. Access to credit varies, and, by and large, the more successful and probably bigger farm operators have better access to money to buy inputs. Therefore, the effect of the current success or otherwise of the farmers involved needs to be added in as a further factor. Now, the current status of the farmer, which is being used here as an indication of creditworthiness, probably results from having a larger area of land available, or from achieving high yields in previous years. This implies there is an effect of food supply on status. Having made that link, I notice that I have now got a complete loop where each factor in the loop causes an increase in the next. This is known as a positive feedback loop. Positive feedback loops are of great significance in multiple cause diagrams because they reveal the process by which a situation might spiral out of control, as well as the factors you might try to influence in order to change the situation. Furthermore, the current status of the farmer affects that farmer's ability to adopt improved technology, and adopting that technology is also likely to affect the farmer's status, and so on. The implications of the connections in this multiple cause diagram are that a farmer with high status would expect to have good access to credit, which would allow him to adopt the new technology, and so produce more food, and so obtain higher status. In effect, a form of virtuous circle. In contrast, a farmer's low status may decrease his access to credit, hence ability to adopt new technology, such that his production of food may not increase, such that his status is likely to fall relative to those who have adopted the new technology, thereby reducing even further his low status and access to credit. This is a vicious circle. The exact form of feedback shown here is positive feedback, in that a high or low initial value tends to lead to a higher or lower result, respectively. The alternative negative feedback also involves a loop, but it is such that a reverse and therefore stabilizing effect occurs. If we now consider another factor, such as access to land, the level of this not only affects the supply of food directly, it also has an indirect effect via access to credit, as land is considered good security by moneylenders. So bad years when crops fail or technology does not lead to increased food supply may be compensated in part by still getting access to credit to try and make up the losses in the following year. Of course, each of the causal relationships in the diagram is relatively simple, and there are many more factors that could be included that add complexity to it. But it does at least highlight key relationships and feedback loops, as well as possible points of intervention. You'll find more information on feedback loops in a later session dealing with causal loop diagrams.